What's up, guys? This is the second part to my WWE Money in the Bank 2016 prediction, and I left off talking about the Money in the Bank match within itself, and I said that Kevin Owens would be my number one pick. And then if I had to pick a second person, it would be Dean Ambrose. I said Kevin Owens and Dean Ambrose. Well, one of the reasons why I say this is because, like I said, Kevin Owens has been getting this sort of monster push. And it's kind of like, as much as, because if I were to pick, I would want Cesaro to win. But I really feel like the route that the WWE is going, Kevin Owens is probably going to be most likely the one to win this match. And, a lot of people have talked about other people winning, the likes of Chris Jericho or, Dean Ambrose. And like I said, for Dean Ambrose, I can understand why people would want Dean Ambrose to win because, it could set up a big thing between him and his former Shield members. But Chris Jericho, come on. Now, Chris Jericho in a recent interview, well, not a recent interview, but, in interviews not far from now, he mentioned that he doesn't mind, losing matches and putting young talent over. And it's kind of like if Chris Jericho were to win the Money in the Bank, that would take away from the young talent that actually deserves it. And, I always thought two things about Chris Jericho. I always thought that one day he should win the Royal Rumble. I always thought that he should have won the Money in the Bank a long time ago. I thought that he should have already been in history of the Royal Rumble, but neither one of them has he won. And I'm just thinking like, I've watched Chris Jericho recent matches, and I just don't know how that would go, or the route that they would move if they were to give Chris Jericho the Money in the Bank briefcase. He became Mr. Money in the Bank. That's just not something that it would really be a smart move as of this point in time. And like I said before, when most likely for this Money in the Bank match, like I said, I'm going to go with Kevin Owens. I can't really see anybody else winning other than Dean Ambrose. Those would be my only two picks. Now, we go with the main event. The main event, you got, because like I said, I wasn't going in order with these matches, but now I just, one match that I always said the end is the main event. So you got Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Now, for this match, I feel as though I can't see Seth Rollins winning the title back so quickly. Now, Roman Reigns, as far as his time being champion, it has not necessarily been the best run for him. And of course, a lot of people don't really like Roman Reigns, so that doesn't help either. And then the way how they have him on the mic, it's just not working. And one of the things that I've noticed that I really, really wanted to bring to the table is that the storyline between Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins have kind of been overshadowed by the storyline of John Cena and AJ Styles. Because if you notice, ever since AJ Styles had attacked John Cena and turned heel on Monday Night Raw, the main focus has been on the John Cena versus AJ Styles storyline. It was like the minute that happened, they kind of cut aside the Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns storyline. It's like, because every time I would look on YouTube and I would see videos that would be like the top 10 moments of Raw, you wouldn't even see Roman Reigns on the list. But you would always see something involving AJ Styles and John Cena. And as many people said before, it's funny because John Cena had been named the face for so long, and while he's out, it's Roman Reigns, and then when he comes back, the focus is back on John Cena. And that's what I find really crazy about this storyline, is because it's like the build up to it was kind of awkward because it was getting somewhere at the beginning when Seth Rollins first made his return. But then after that, they just completely overshadowed the storyline by John Cena and AJ Styles. It seems like that's the one that's getting more of the look at because that's supposed to be a dream matchup because it's supposed to be so big. That's what more people was thinking about that match. And I feel like for this match, honestly, I could see Roman Reigns winning. I think Roman Reigns is going to retain his WWE World Heavyweight Championship. I don't believe that they're going to give it to Seth Rollins so quickly by making his return. Even though it would be shocking that they would do such a thing. And let's not forget recently how Vince McMahon was talking about he didn't really have as much trust with Roman Reigns as he used to have. He doesn't really have that same thought of him being the next guy as he had at the beginning, and him and Triple H have had disputes over Roman Reigns. I believe that Roman Reigns will indeed end up retaining his WWE World Heavyweight Championship. I think he's going to defeat Seth Rollins. I think Seth Rollins is going to do as much as good as Seth Rollins can do because Seth Rollins is an architect. I believe Seth Rollins is probably sorry about that, guys. I believe Seth Rollins is probably going to overcome. I believe he's going to, give it as best as he can. A lot of people say that they didn't really like the finish that Roman Reigns had with AJ Styles in their two matches. And, I honestly think that the match they had at Extreme Rules was a lot better than the match they had at Payback, even though the finish was similar. Let's think about it. At Payback, they didn't even allow, not even once, for AJ Styles to go for his Star Crash. They didn't allow him to go for his finisher. But at Extreme Rules, he went for it twice. And Roman Reigns kicked out both times. And that's what really, I believe, made the match good because it was very aggressive. It was really crazy how the match went down. And in the end, after interference from, Kyle Anderson and Luke Gallows, the Bullet Club, after interference from the Usos, Roman Reigns still retained the WWE World Heavyweight Championship only to be attacked by Seth Rollins. Like I said, I believe that Roman Reigns will retain the WWE's World Heavyweight Championship. I don't really see why they would give it to. I can see this happening, but unless he just lost, unless Vince McMahon just lost that much doubt in Roman Reigns, I don't really see them giving it to Seth Rollins so quickly, even though he's made a return. And it's possible that it could happen, but I think that Roman Reigns for right now is going to be pretty safe. And one of the interesting things that I've noticed that I find very ironic is that Roman Reigns, back in 2014, they were supposed to face each other at Night of Champions. Roman Reigns was unable to compete in the match because he had an issue with his stomach that he had to get surgery for. And literally, just a year later, at Survivor Series, they were supposed to face each other again. Only this time for the WWE's World Heavyweight Championship. But Seth Rollins get injured right before Survivor Series. Is there a sign, WWE, that they just shouldn't face each other 2 years in a row and then something happened to both of them? That's something WWE should really think about because it's kind of funny that both times in a row they didn't face each other, and now they finally face each other one-on-one on a pay-per-view because they faced each other on Raw before, but it's one-on-one on a pay-per-view for the WWE's World Heavyweight Championship. Only this time Roman Reigns is the champion. It makes you wonder the route they're going to go in, but I can definitely see them giving it to. I can definitely see them having Roman Reigns retain the WWE's World Heavyweight Championship at Money in the Bank. Well, that is my video here for my predictions on every match in which I believe who's going to win what. So, thank you guys so much for watching. This was my WWE Money in the Bank 2016 prediction part 2, as part 1 was done a lot earlier today. So, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you haven't subscribed yet, please make sure you do that because there's a lot more videos coming. If you like this video, put a thumbs up, and I'll talk to you guys another day. Peace.